I never thought we would actually be back with another edition of the Reef podcast here. Man, this is almost like a marathon that we have here. My good co-host.
Can we go for 3?
I don't think so.
Good to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the AtomikGamez here. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Man, something about that pink hair, man. I remember watching the pink hair before, then you went blonde, and now you're pink again. So, good to see the pink again.
Thank you. I like it. I missed it.
So, do you want to actually introduce yourself to the listeners out there?
I'm AtomikGamez. I'm a Canadian streamer, dad, and that's about. I think that's about it. I'm pretty cool sometimes.
You're a variety streamer as well, right? You actually
Yeah. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I did a little thing on Kick there for a bit, but Kick is a little wild west, I think, for me. Mm-hmm. And of course, like I know we all try and do the YouTube thing, and try. That's all you can do.
Absolutely. So you consider yourself an influencer, a content creator, or just a streamer in general?
I think all of the above, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of the above. And I mean, I think at any point that you put yourself on the internet and somebody comes to watch you and listen to you, even one person, you're an influencer. And I don't care how big you are for that, I think a lot of us have a lot of influence over people, and you don't even know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, content creator. I don't know if I'm a content creator. I make content. I don't mean to sometimes. It just kind of comes out my mouth, to be honest.
Right. And just so the new listeners that are listening out there know, if you guys have any questions for AtomikGamez, all you have to do is put the Q equals on your question, and my co-host here, Nightmare, will be able to put it on file, and we'll ask it as soon as we finish our questions that we have for him. So I hope you're ready for this, because these are actually unique, and we always find time to actually do a little research on the guests that we have, and we try to make it fun. Like, we don't try to stress out people. We try to make you all laugh and actually have a good time.
Okay, all right.
So
I don't like stress anyways. I'm too old for that shit.
Stress, you can just toss it out the window. Just toss it away.
Perfect.
That's all you have to do. All right. So first question. I mean, this is actually a general question I do ask to everybody that's actually a content creator that comes get interviewed. What made you want to come up with the name AtomikGamez?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I've been asked that a few times, and I think Atomic. I can't tell you where I know where Atomic came from. Atomic came from a random. There used to be this superhero trading card thing that I checked up back way once upon a day, back when I was a wee lad, and there was a character that I really liked on these trading cards. It wasn't Marvel or DC, I can't remember what sort of other universe it was. And then Atomic was a gamer tag for a long time. Atomic 69, the Atomic Man, Atomic Theory, just sort of all these things with Atomic in it, and it was, when we started streaming, it just sort of felt well, I'm AtomikGamez. That felt like the sort of next evolution of things, and so it stuck, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just, man, I've had Atomic in a gamer tag since I was 15.
Jeez.
And I'm way freaking older than that now.
So what made you want to actually create content? Like, what made you want to say, hey, I should do live streaming, I should do Twitch? I mean, what motivated you to do it?
It's a good one. This is a really good question, actually. It all started with a personal journey into sobriety. I had a kind of a weird, shitty, lots of another story for another day times, and after sobriety and whatnot, and I've always kind of been. I went to a theater. Okay, I should probably start that out. I went to a theater performing arts high school in Vegas when I went to high school. I've always pursued theater arts, and I've always been interested in theater. I've done classes. I've done. My high school was basically an extra 2 hours a day of a theater class on top of all your extra stuff. So I chose to go to school for 2 hours extra a day so I could fucking learn theater. Mm-hmm. So that was my big. I always wanted to be an actor. I wanted to put myself out there. I never had a problem talking, which you probably have noticed here and there. And so when I sobered up and when I wanted to keep my hands busy and my brain busy, Osmom said, "Why don't you Twitch stream? Why don't you try one of these things? You get to talk to people, you get to play video games." And during this time, I think this is when COVID had all shot up. We were actually Mr. Giggles there that had come in the chat there. That's an in real life cousin, and the three of us had been started to play video games during COVID. The three of us just, Halo, lots of Halo. That was, the MCC. That was the thing, and we played a ton of Halo, and then Osmom was my partner. She was like, "Why don't we stream? Why don't we do this?" So she bought me a webcam for my birthday, and here we got out. That was it. We hit the ground running, and we never looked back. It was just something to do, to have fun, and we like talking to people, and so it kind of just made sense, to be honest.
Gotcha. All right, Namir, what you got?
We've talked about what got you into Twitch streaming. What made you go with the pink hair? What was the story behind that?
That's an interesting question, actually. I don't actually. I'm gonna have to look at Osman for a little bit of that. So when we were younger, in our days, and even back in the merry days, I had a big ass mohawk. I had like a foot long, big fan mohawk for years, multicolored and stuff. And that was I ended up getting rid of it because of kids and jobs, and whatever else. But as we came back around in the corner into this content creation thing in sobriety, I was like, fuck it, I want my hair back. I want another mohawk. So I did the mohawk, and then we were like, well, shit, I should do a color. And I was like, oh, fuck, so many people have blue, and Osmom's big color was hot pink. And I don't know, the hot pink really stuck out in my first design, my first logo that I had. Mm-hmm. It had some really good pink in it, and it just just meant to be. It just happened. It just really, we really broke. Really broke through the barrier, and I just I needed it, so I did it. And it's just one of those colors that really pops, right? Like I don't know, I'm a pretty big dude out there, and having pink hair, people are like, so
All right,
man, I don't pay him enough.
I got you. All right, so we actually have a question here that the AK4L had asked. He or she asked, what advice could you give to new streamers?
That's advice to new streamers. Really hitting me with the question there. Hey, good old AK there. I think one of the biggest things that people forget about when they go to do this thing is they just need to have fun. A lot of people worry about, numbers and games and trying to appease. And I think one of the biggest secrets that's always helped me is just to do what you're going to do, and your people will find you. Mm-hmm. You just got to be you. Just do what makes you happy, because people want to see you happy. People want to see you having fun. The viewers out there, they could generally give a shit less about what you're playing, right? They want to see you.
Mm-hmm. And they can actually see your face reactions too. Like if they see that you're actually like depressed and stuff like that, they worry and they're like, "Hey, what happened?"
Yeah, people want to be. They want to be, and that's in the end. I think that's a huge thing. Is people want to have a community, and you want to know each other, and just being you is the best way to get that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just be you.
Right.
Streamer advice.
All right. So, what genre of music do you like actually go to, like when it comes to actually like not just in streaming in general, but I mean like in general, like around your house, like what is the music that Atomic always vibes to?
Holy shit. That's a really huge okay, so you picture me being, as I was talking about, being kind of a theater kid back in the day. I am all over the map with music. you'll catch me, out here in the kitchen dancing to dad rock, good old 70s classic rock, some AC/DC. Pirate Radio is a good soundtrack. Lots of oldies like that. I'm really into. On the same note, I'm really into some drum and bass, and I like Mozart, and I'm totally like a mood. It just depends on the mood. I don't think I'm ever in the mood for country though.
I always have to jam to 80s. Anything 80s, man.
There we go. See, their 80s is good too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 80s.
100%.
See, as long as it's not opera, I'm fine with it.
So you're not okay with
opera.
that opera?
I love me some opera. That was my grandma's fault.
It's not that I don't like opera. It's, for me, you have to be there in person.
True.
That's actually
The listening experience. Yeah.
I can imagine going to Sydney, Australia, and actually going to the opera house there. I heard so many good things about it that I would love to one day just to see a performance, in person would be amazing.
Yeah, just for that performance though, because their spiders are too big. So.
I mean, it is what it is. But overall, like you sharing with us that you actually were in theater makes me really happy because we talked a few times. But I remember coming the first time to your actual streams. You were doing a HelloFresh little demonstration.
Yeah.
And literally, like showing like everybody like, hey, I'm cooking this today and everything. I was like, dude, this is actually fun. I like this. This is actually enjoyable, and that's something unique. So the question I want to ask is like, now that like you have a community base, like a big community within like Twitch and Discord and everything, is there any end goals besides like everybody's goal is like always of course be verified, be like something else, but what is Atomic's main purpose on Twitch? Like what is like the thing that's like, okay, this is my final goal, this is what I want to do?
That's a really big question. I think you're right. I think one of the validations that everyone's after is the check marks or the extra things, and a lot of things. A lot of people will tell you don't need that stuff. You really don't to get brand deals and stuff, but it helps, right? I think in the end, just to have a good community of people that we're here for each other, that we got each other's back, that we can come out here and do this thing and have a good space and a fun space. That's kind of the end game for me. It's also, listen, this is a tough question for me because I don't think I've ever thought of the end. I've never since I started, I've never seen myself ending. All I think is that one day I'm going to be in an old folks home with a camera on. And I'm going to be one of the oldest guys on Twitch, and people are going to be like, man, this guy's too fucking old to be here. And I'm going to be like, well, I'm here. So end game, I think, is just, I just want to keep building a good community. I want to be here for people when they need. And I want to just keep having a good time, man.
You'd be surprised with how many elderly people they have out there that actually still stream till today. Like they're like 60s and they still do it. I'm like, dude, that's just passion and dedication. I love that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, which I'm sure a lot of people do, but this whole thing helps me out a lot too, right? It's like it's a two-way street. I'm sure people find some kind of solace in some shit that I have to say, but I definitely the community helps me through a lot of shit too. So it's a thankful situation either way.
Mm-hmm. You heard it here, folks. Atomic here. Shouts out the Atomic community. If you don't mind me asking, what do you call your community? Like, I know some people, like, they have, like, like for me, I have my Sharkies. Nightmare has his wolves. What do you call your community?
The number one is the Atomic Army. That's sort of always been the go. But yeah, Atomic Fam, Atomic Army is the name.
Gotcha. All right.
The neutrons, the atoms, we get really sciencey at this point. I think at one point we were on a periodic table trying to figure out elements. Anyways, but yeah, any number of these little contained things like atoms. Atoms is what we're going. Atoms.
That's awesome. All right, so Nightmare here has a question from AK ready. So Nightmare, take the mic.
So AK wants to know if you could have a catchphrase, what would it be?
Son of a bitch. It's a funny. This is a funny question because this is something that we've been sort of like bouncing on for a long time. I'm in search of the perfect catchphrase, and this is a conversation that's come up before because, what is that? So the one thing that I always seem to kind of go to, and I don't know what anybody else but I'm always like, AtomikGamez. He's the bomb, baby. Right? So us, right? Like in Duke Nukem style. Listen, I'm from that. I'm a rad chill zone kind of dad. Okay, so that's where I'm. But yeah, we're always trying to find the fucking catchphrase. But like, how do you do that? I don't know. Out of all the things I was blessed with, it's not catchphrase making. Okay.
It'll come at some point, and when it does, you better let us know so we can share it. Because
I'll hit my head on the toilet or something one morning. Right?
Okay.
Interesting story of how he comes up with it.
I'll probably come up with the flux capacitor at the same time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is not a streamer related question, but if you could choose any vacation spot out there for Atomic and Awesome, where would it be and why?
Yet.
Now the better question is, should we be asking him or Osmond?
We've had a chat about where we're going to go on vacation. Vegas. So Vegas TwitchCon 2023 was one of our first vacations. We used that as an opportunity to not only go to TwitchCon but have a week in Vegas, and it was great. Waking up to 30 degrees, having coffee by the pool at 9:00 in the morning. It doesn't get any better than that. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we both don't like is cruise ships. So I don't think we'll be doing any cruise ship vacations anytime soon. And I'm not really a big fan. I don't know about flying for like 70 million hours. Mm-hmm. So if we were to pick our very next vacation somewhere here in North America, I'd probably say somewhere like Mexico or something fun. Like go spend a all-inclusive hotel, some beach, something like that. I know that sounds very, but that's realistic. You know what I mean? Fucking vacations are expensive, and I'm Canadian. So, flights and stuff are... Anyways.
But Cancun is actually a go-to place, like for a lot of people. Cancun, like any around the beaches, like around Mexico and stuff. Man, those are the places to go to. Like especially also the Caribbean. The Caribbean, oh my gosh, dude, it's like you see the water that we're in. Yeah, this is the Caribbean. Like I had to drag this guy. I mean, he's a wolf, so basically I had to drag him in the water. I was like, hey, you better come swim here.
Choice anymore. I'm being held hostage, please.
Blink twice if you need help.
Gotcha, good. All right, so this is actually a streaming question. What got you, like, what was the game that got you affiliated, if you remember? If you don't remember, this is a follow-up. What was the first game that you ever streamed?
I think State of Decay.
Really?
I think it was State of Decay 2 that I was playing when I got affiliated.
That's awesome.
Was it, or was it Halo still? So this is where when we first started streaming, it was Halo, and then it was like kind of Halo, Rocket League, and State of Decay were kind of all around the same time. But maybe it was Halo. Maybe it was freaking Halo. I'm gonna go with Halo. I'm gonna go with Halo MCC.
That's awesome. And as we can see, we have a guest in the background here, right? We have a little pupper that just came and said, "Hey, I want to be in the show as well."
That's Luna. She's my lab.
That's
my
adorable.
lab retriever.
She's
a cutie. My princess.
I freaking love Labradors. They're so nice. But
she's a great dog.
That's awesome. So shout out to her for being part of the podcast now. So all right, what is one game that you remember playing that got you into gaming? Like one game that actually, like, you're like, oh my gosh, I love video games.
Oh shit. I mean, like, really? Like, we're gonna go right back to like Mario and Duck Hunt, man.
See, that's this guy's alley right here, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was my That was my bread and butter, my jam and jelly there, or whatever. That was the whole thing. Was that Duck Hunt and Mario was the big shebango. I remember having that gun, that Nintendo gun, for so long that even after my Nintendo had left, I had taken that gun. I mean, I was a kid, and I like modified it so it was like a cool looking. But yeah, that was it. Mario and Duck Hunt, man. That's what got me in. That's what hooked me. Shooting those dang ducks and running around as Mario.
Hey, I mean,
the rest is history.
If you didn't get those ducks, then that dog will actually laugh at you. Almost like I don't know. I don't know if you.
They made a Flash game. I forgot to mention this the last time somebody brought up Duck Hunt. They made a Flash game where you could get revenge on that dog.
Isn't there actually? I saw a horror VR game. That's that dog coming to fucking get you or something. I have to.
Oh God, I know what you're talking. I saw it on YouTube. I know what you're talking about. I saw it on YouTube. Yes, it exists. I'm completely convinced. Whoever made the Flash game, getting revenge on the dog, probably sat there and made that VR game too. It's got to be the same person.
That's awesome. We definitely have to bring you back for a future episode as a part 2, and definitely talk more, because there's so much variety that we get along with, that we click with and everything. I mean, we click on music.
Yeah, man.
We click on theater. I mean, it's great. So do you remember and you probably don't remember, I don't know if you do, but do you remember any plays that you did when you were in theater?
Yeah, actually, I was hoping a question like that would come up, because one of the ones that I thought was really funny, back before I got into one of the better, my theater school in Vegas, there was a play that we had done that was like a performance that you had to license, right? But nobody had money for like the big stuff, so it was sort of like Little Shop of Horrors. Mm-hmm. Okay. But it wasn't. It was like knockoff Little Shop of Horrors. And it was a musical, and I got to play the lead, and it was one of my favorite friggin' things I ever did. It was silly and stupid, and I had to sing in front of my school, which, was one of those things at the time that really, I think, broke a lot of walls down for me, right? Scared the shit out of me, but you did it, and...
and that's the purpose of theater class. I mean, you basically break your shell, and you basically come out and basically open yourself to everybody. And
yep.
I know that for a fact, because I did 3 years of theater in high school, and literally the only play I remember doing was actually Peter Pan. We did a play for Peter Pan, and that was actually
yay,
and that was actually really fun. I really enjoyed myself. But I mean, go ahead.
No, just because plays are fun. I still love. I'm still waiting for the day that I find a murder mystery or something in town that I can go and be a person in.
That would be awesome. All right, so
I won't be doing some research for you, Atomik. Don't worry.
That's awesome. All right, so Nightmare, you got any questions?
So I'm gonna kind of show a different side to me than you guys normally get to see. I know for me, Rent's always been one of my favorite musicals of all time. The movie or the theater, both of them are really good. What would you say your favorite musical is?
Oh, musical. Ooh. Does it have to be? Does it have to be like classic musicals, like Broadway stuff, or can I just pick a musical that came out that I really like?
Any musical.
Ooh.
Can I tell you right off? There's two sort of off the top of my head. One is a touchy one because whatever, but there's another one. It's like a Beatles tribute, and it's called Across the Universe. Mm-hmm. And it is one of my favorite. And I know it's kind of a different, like I said, it's not your classical musical kind of thing, but the whole movie is singing Beatles tribute, and I could put that on and sing to that all day long, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure I still do.
That's awesome, man. Theater is just a massive thing, man. I mean, I freaking love it. I mean, we all did it. I'm pretty sure all did it at some point. And then, hey,
I got a question for Nightmare.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
I just you said opera stuff. What about Phantom of the Opera?
Ooh, that would be a good one. I would actually. That's actually
kind of a cool show, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've had no issue with Phantom of the Opera. I've seen almost every version of it. So, but it's one of those things you have to see it. You can't just
100%.
listen.
You guys ever seen the musical of The Lion King?
I think I've seen bits of it, and I've been amazed by the performers in it. I've seen a couple of like little tribute-y 2-minute like check out the cast.
One of my friends
Or,
that she used to live in Louisiana where I live, and she actually went to Broadway in like the northeast, and she got to see The Lion King, and she's like, if you ever come up here, I have to take you to see The Lion King. Like, I was like, dude, I would 100% watch that just because Lion King was actually one of my growing up Disney movies that I always enjoyed. I mean, I didn't just watch Disney, of course, because I mean, we share, you know, for a fact, Atomic, we share Animaniacs and all those classic things. That's why,
Yes, sir.
every time I come watch your content, I have to do at least one good idea, bad idea, just because I'm like, dude,
You have to.
it's like one
You
thing.
gotta.
In case you don't know, Nightmare, because you have, I don't know how, like, you know, because you're busy with, like, you know, your kids and everything, you need to come and redeem the good idea, bad idea, because you have a big laugh with that. Because every time I see that, I'm like,
next time I come in.
I literally, when I see that good idea, I'm like, okay, good, but I want to see what the bad idea of this is.
Always. Somebody always gets exploded.
But okay, besides Animaniacs, what was actually a cartoon growing up that you also watched?
Like, Inspector Gadget.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah,
That's
Inspector Gadget was one of my favorite childhood cartoons.
That theme was actually pretty catchy for the opening.
Yep.
That was actually pretty catchy.
Yeah, love that thing.
Yeah, Animaniacs. That you ever watched Wacky Racers?
Wacky Racers.
It was actually a Hanna-Barbera, almost like a Mario Kart cartoon. If you actually look it up, you probably remember it. It was like
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. Yeah, as soon as I saw the dude with the hat.
See, MB in here says those caveman brothers. Yes. Every time I would always see the dog with the goggles laughing, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like that's just.
Watt Cats.
Wait, say it again. You cut off Nightmare.
Watt Cats?
SWAT cats, yeah.
Oh, God. That's an old one. They don't even, like, have anything for that media anymore.
I also remember.
What about
I was about to say,
go ahead.
What about Thundercats? Who remembers Thundercats? Dude,
Who doesn't?
dude, I watched it in my country, in
They
Peru.
remade it.
Dude.
The remake was horrible.
It needs a remake. It needs like a modern version of that. Like I would actually.
They did a modern version. It was
Like-
not good.
No, they
Twice. I feel like they've done like 2, or is that He-Man they've done like twice?
He-Man probably.
Either or. I don't know. I just
Thundercats,
Wait.
they did like a season and a half of a remake,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so poorly received by the original fans, they stopped doing the remake.
I think personally, reviews should be based on the person, not the people that review and say, "Oh, this sucks," because somebody may say it sucks, but then when you watch it, you're like, I'm actually enjoying this. Like, I'm actually having fun with this. Because, I mean, it's your opinion, you know? I mean, you have that opinion of that. But, I mean, yeah, Thundercats was a show I used to watch. Of course, everyone watched Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, rest in peace, Akira. I mean, one of the biggest
Who
legends.
remembers the Legend of Zelda cartoon?
Good Lord.
it was didn't they usually have that tied into the Mario Brothers cartoon?
No,
Yeah, because of the Mario Brothers cartoon, they did that awful live action segment that would follow the beginning and ending of each cartoon. Mario the plumber.
Oh, God.
oddly enough, was a professional wrestler playing Mario.
One thing that made me laugh the most about that cartoon is oh yeah, the camera. It's like
His camera guy.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, so one thing I remember from that cartoon in recent times is how they implemented that on the Mario movie, the recent Mario movie. They had like the little theme and stuff. I was like, dude, that's just hilarious that they just did a little tribute to that. I don't know, I was actually excited to hear that. But yeah, I also grew up watching Tom and Jerry. I mean, dude, Tom and Jerry just iconic. Every time, like, I mean, even don't they have it in HBO Max now? I believe, like, they have all the seasons for that.
Have so many different versions of Tom and Jerry now. Like, that is the one cartoon that no matter what version they did, it was always good.
Like transcends time. That cartoon will be around forever, right?
Yeah,
oh God, I hope.
I hope so.
50 years, Tom and Jerry will be Tom and Jerry still.
Like, I still like. I remember, like, you know, hearing, like, you know, oh, new Tom and Jerry movie is gonna come to theaters. I was like, well, I'm going to theater to watch it just because Tom and Jerry. I went to see it, and I don't know if you guys watched it, but I was speechless when I heard Tom and Jerry speak. I was like, whoa, they actually talk now.
Oh yeah. I didn't actually.
Yeah.
I didn't actually.
But your buddy actually here is actually talking about X-Men. That's another classic. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. Rocky and Bullwinkle. Oh my goodness, dude! All those.
So that X-Men. Actually, speaking of X-Men, X-Men '97 is one that a couple of us have started catching up on in the community, doing little watch parties of. I'm only on like episode 5 because life, but man,
It's
X-Men
good.
'97. What a nostalgia hit that is! I just right down to the intro, the cartoon intro start, do, my heart starts going and I'm sweating and I'm like,
You
yes,
can't help but to get that nostalgia from that.
Absolutely.
yeah, I love that.
I remember. I
I
also
love that for sure.
I also remember watching the animated series of Iron Man. Iron Man had a series too back in the day.
Iron Man,
Yep.
the original Marvel universe.
Yeah,
Iron Man, Spider-Man,
the Amazing
X-Men,
Spider-Man was-
Hulk.
Spider-Man's a tough one for me because I feel like they've had 1,000 Spider-Man cartoons from, I don't know, different. There's like the Ultimate Spider-Man, and there's the animated Spider-Man, and then there's the old animated Ultimate, and then I'm like, holy, which, so I always, there's definitely, I think, too many Spider-Mans. I feel like there's always a different cartoon Spider-Man running around.
Yeah.
But if they ever came out with a cartoon of Spider-Man 2099, I'd watch that whole series. I would
Watch the crap out of it. Right?
Man, so many cartoons back
They
then.
they did bring him into that new what was it? Into the Spider-Verse or whatever
Yeah.
the newest one was.
Those
They brought him into that, but make him an actual series.
Those I actually enjoy over the. The Tobey Maguire movies. They were fun. They were funny, comical, and stuff like that. But dude, I'm sorry, but Into the Spider-Verse and all those, freaking amazing, dude. Amazing Spider.
So good.
But
so I got to share an embarrassing thing with you guys real quick because we mentioned the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
oh Lord.
I've tried getting my youngest to watch it, and he does not like the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He likes the new ones. He doesn't like the old ones.
Wow. He'll learn
I'm embarrassed.
He'll learn to appreciate it. He'll learn to appreciate it.
It's tough. I feel like a few of those older animation and cartoons, I feel like the kids these days aren't like, they've been programmed with so many different styles of like CGI and animation that when you go back to like original, season 1 Simpsons or like, pre-Turtles, 80s, 90s Turtles, it's like, they're just like, what's this? What's this crap that you guys were watching? I'm like, this is it.
Good.
This is it.
That's the
This is
Like,
real.
see that
This paved the way for your crap.
this is that's the thing though. You bring to kids nowadays a classic Super Nintendo or Nintendo controller. Hey, what is this? I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know.
Not all kids. Not all kids.
No,
My oldest
I know.
has the NES Classic.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, you bring that to them and they're like, is there a safe spot somewhere in the... No, you have to get a paper, write down the passwords for your game, and then basically you can turn off the freaking game. Because I grew up playing Mega Man, Pilot Wings, all these classics. And
Pilot Wings.
that was actually one of my... Oh, man. I could
The
talk...
bane of my existence.
That's this guy's nightmare, like complete nightmare. Like every time
Now, you put me on any Mario game against him, 100% would win.
yeah, he'll kick my butt easily. But on Pilot
You
Wings,
put me on Pilot Wings, that is the bane of my existence. I
because
can't do it.
the true fact about that, Atomic, is that growing up, my dad would actually make me play that. And if, like, say for example, I would go to the 3rd level and I would make 100 on one level, like one stage, and then go to the next one, I would make 99. He would reset my game and say start over. Yeah. So he always wanted perfection. I was like, dude, damn.
Perfection.
And then it got to the point that eventually I was like, you know what? I think I'm actually prepared. So I told him like, hey, come watch me. I'm about to do 100% on everything. And I did. And literally he was like, wow, okay, do it again then. You did it? Okay, do it again. Like, that was just his go-to game every time.
Yeesh.
Yeah, he was actually very fond of that game. But anyways,
Yes.
enough about us two. We need to know more about you, sir. Because, I mean, this is actually an interview about you. So, what is, let's see, what's a good question to ask you? If you could pick any instrument, I know you said you listen to a variety of music. If you could pick any instrument out there, what would it be?
Like to play?
Yes.
I mean, I played a couple. I've got a couple that I've played. I probably wouldn't go back to playing high school trombone though if I had a choice. So, I don't know, man. I think guitar is one I've always been interested in picking up, but obviously never enough to do it because I'm 41 and I still haven't learned how to play guitar. Not to say that it's out of the realm of possibility, but that's always been the instrument I wanted to learn and have never picked up. You know what? I'll be honest with you. You know what I do in my spare time? What I like to do is I like to play with things like this. I got a like a jaw harp.
Mm-hmm.
I got a jaw harp and I got a harmonica.
Ooh.
And those are two things. Those are two things that the harmonica I just got not too long ago. Nothing amazing on that yet, but it's definitely those are two of the things that I like to mess around with that aren't overly loud for the household, and I can just sit here and I feel like I could just jam out.
I seen some people go hard with those harmonicas, man. Like literally, like just play like nonstop. I also enjoy the ones that have like the not the bagpipes, but I mean like the. You know what I'm talking about? It's like two keyboards on the side, and you basically
harmonica or the.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god! Did we just forget the polka playing instrument? What is it called? Accordion. Oh my god!
Jesus.
How did you forget? Jeez.
Those I give credit for people that use accordions, man. Accordions are freaking amazing. Like literally, like when I hear people do like that and everything, I'm like, dude, that's just incredible. Freaking love that. All right, Nightmare, what you got?
Okay, so we're talking about instruments, we're talking about musicals and stuff like that. Away from that, what would you say is one of your favorite ways to relax?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, favorite ways to relax. Shoot. My newfound relaxation is as easy as dog walks. I know that sounds whatever, but in a world where a lot of my business stuff, my work stuff, my Twitch stuff, everything all collides here. So for the hour that we can go out on a walk with the dog and enjoy some sun and get away from this, that's a relaxation to me. Away from and hey, sometimes the kids can just chill. Mom and dad need a little bit of time for a walk once in a while too. So anyways, I'm just saying that's my relaxing time is, the field with the dog is a really nice one for me.
And go to Vegas every now and then.
And sure, Vegas with Osman once a year would be awesome.
Because I don't know if you know this, Nightmare, but I met this guy at TwitchCon last year.
Yeah, you sent me pictures like right after it happened.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm sitting there like, man, I was supposed to be there. Thanks.
It was funny though, like just sitting there eating too at breakfast, and there he was, just sitting right there, sitting right there.
The funny thing is that my friend Lucky Gumby is the one that recognized you because he's like, "Hey, isn't that AtomikGamez in the back?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it is." And then when you turn around, I was like, "It is him." And then I was like, "Oh shit, what up, dude?" Like I was
glad we found that Denny's. So glad we found that Denny's.
Denny's is actually good though.
I think the problem was at TwitchCon they had a cafeteria there, but everything was like it was like debit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was debit, and we were like international, so the debit fees and stuff were ridiculous. To like buy a sandwich for $12 on American with their fees, it was like we're gonna go to Denny's. And it was solid. It was solid. I had a great time, man. I can't wait for something like that again, where we can all meet up and hopefully actually spend some time. It'd be nice to go for a dinner or something and hang out.
Oh, absolutely. I always like actually go and hang out. I mean, even listen to live music while you're eating is always great, man.
Ooh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's always great. I always love
bet.
like, you know, just randomly having like a small dinner or lunch or something like that while you actually listen to live music, like, you know, in the background and everything. That's always great. All right. So Nightmare.
Like, legitimately giving. Will you stop giving my wife ideas, please? Jeez, man. Like, I've already got to tell her no on so much. Like, can we not do this?
All right, Nightmare, what you got?
Okay. So you mentioned the dog walking, stuff like that. All the stuff kind of colliding when you're at home. What's like a typical day look like for you?
Typical day. Well, the kiddos. I got two kids that are, you know, still 9 and 12. They're still doing the grade school thing, and they're still up at the early as heck. So it's getting kids up in the morning, get the day rolling, get them out. You know, make some coffee, and then we start doing. We got a couple of businesses outside of what we do at Twitch, and so we get all that kind of stuff done for usually the first half of the day, and then we head out for do the store trip and your dog walk and all that kind of stuff, and then before you know it, the kids are home. It's 5 o'clock. It's dinner time, and then it's 8 o'clock already, and you're like, where the hell did the whole day go? So yeah, that's pretty much. It just feels like right now between the kids and the household and just activities, and it's so busy. I just, 1 minute it's the morning and the next it's bedtime. Like I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy around here. It's crazy.
That's the thing, man. The older you get, the faster time goes by for you. Like literally, like everything flies by. It's insane. I mean, when I work like on a Saturday, which I usually do 12 hours, usually like at the around like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, man, it's already that time. I just got here like a little while ago. What the hell? Like, what is wrong with this? I mean, it's just time flies, man.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing, and I mean, we just the last job that I did before all this is I used to work up north in the oil sands, and Canadian oil sands is where I worked, and I used to live in the bush, and I used to just my hours were redonkulous. I was away from home, a month at a time, kind of stuff, and I don't do that crap anymore. I can't. We chose after this is another podcast story for another day, but Asmam and I, our biggest thing in the last few years has been to focus on family, because that's all we got. Work, these places that you work for, the unfortunate reality is your boss can be as nice to you as you think he should be, but at the end of the day, you're just a number. And I couldn't miss any more time away from family for $1. So, we do everything we can to make things work and to run our little businesses and side things and make it work, because we get to spend more time as a family together, and that is so freaking important, man. It just, I'll do whatever I have to maintain that too, because being a part of my kids has been number one for me, and I just want to say that because I spent so long away from them that the last couple of years I've really gotten to be a part of their lives has been amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, you always want to include have your family first over everything. Doesn't matter what you have going on, family always comes first.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. People work to provide for their family. I get that, and that's always what I did. And I mean, it's a tough battle out there. So, all you fellas and ladies out there working for your families and pushing out there, just keep your chins up and keep doing your thing.
I always encourage people, like, if you're working and you feel like they shouldn't work anymore, just think about your family. Make that your drive. Make that like your passion. Be like, okay, I'm focused on actually. I'm doing this because I want to provide for my family. So I mean, if you have like a goal set like that, you'll be able to like actually provide for them. Like you'll have a good mentality. Like, okay, I'm doing this because I want to provide for them.
I think that's super commendable, and that's a lot of us how we are. I think it's important not to forget about you too, though. You matter a lot. And I mean, I never put any care into myself. And I almost drank myself to death. And, it it didn't matter. I didn't matter in my scope. As long as I brought home a paycheck and the family was good, I didn't give a flying what, you know. So just make sure out of all that, just make sure you're taking care of yourself, okay? Promise. That's it.
You heard it here,
That's all
folks.
I got to say.
You heard it here. All right. So I know you were here for the last couple of questions that we have, like where we ask our guests like random questions. So I mean, we're actually gonna ask a couple of random questions to you.
Whatever.
And then like we're actually gonna go ahead and do our closing statements. But definitely like we're happy to have you here. I mean, it's been a while. Like I was like, dude, we have to get him here. We have to get him to talk with us because we like promote. That's the thing we do with this podcast. We love promoting other content creators, indie game developers, everybody. I mean, it's not just about us, but I mean, we also want to get people to see who this person is, who Atomic is, who this, because I mean, that's what the main goal of the podcast was when I actually founded this podcast 4 years ago. I was like, I want to be able to show the streamers that people like don't know much about, like now I know this person, now I know what kind of streamer this is, and some people don't appreciate that, and it should be like that because I mean, even if you only have like 20 followers, you're still gonna get interviewed here because I mean, you matter. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you have like verified checkmark. I don't care if you're non-affiliate. You're still gonna get interviewed here because we care about
100%. 100%. It should be that way.
All right. So Nightmare, you want to start this time with the random what the fuck questions?
All right. So I'm gonna go a little old school here. Nintendo or Sony? What was it when you were growing up?
Nintendo.
Any reason?
Just Nintendo was what was out. I mean, like I think my uncle had an Atari, and then my mom bought me a Nintendo for my birthday when I was like 2 or 3.
Was the first game Duck Hunt?
Yeah, it was Duck Hunt and Mario for sure. And then it was Super Nintendo, and then N64, and then Xbox. I was always Nintendo to Xbox. I never touched Sony. Just joking.
Ooh, good question from good question from AK. Best game of all time.
Best game of all time, like in my opinion.
Yeah, in your opinion.
Christ.
And you better not say Duck Hunt, I swear.
That is such a silly, hard question. I almost can't answer that question because I feel like every time I find a game that I like. Okay, so you play a game, you get super involved in the characters, and the ending of it is just, it crashes your heart, and you're sitting here, you got tears coming down your eyes at the end of the game, and then you find another one the next week. So like, I don't know, I'm really tough like that. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think I just enjoy games a lot. I give like every game I play the same amount of I'm so bad with that. I think I'm almost like not focused enough to pick one thing at a time. My ADHD doesn't let me have a favorite. I hyperfixate. If you were to ask me what my favorite hyperfixation game is, I'd tell you what I'm playing right now. You know what I mean? And that'll last for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll find some other story game to play. Right. I'm really fucking bad like that.
Oh, so we have another question. Are there any games you replay? Any games that you replay?
Yeah, I know. Also, I'm saying Red Dead over there. Red Dead is definitely one that is a really cool story. I should have probably just said that that's a dope story. Replayable games. I don't know if I've gone back and played a lot. I know that we've talked about going back and playing. I don't know. You heard of Detroit Become Human? It's a great story, sort of choose your own adventure story game. And the one time we played it on stream is I played as a good guy. So everything I did had to be shaped as a good decision. Couldn't hurt anybody. Good. Bunch of times I wanted to kill people, but I couldn't. So we were talking about going back and playing that as like a be bad, but I find, especially since I started, playing games for content stuff, I don't replay a lot of games because my backlog is ever so long of games that I got to cover for maybe a key giveaway or somebody wants to, I got to do this, or so. Like I tend to play through a game and then put it back on the shelf unless,
For me, personally, one game that I actually have played and still play till this day is the Sims franchise. Like right now on the Sims 4, I have almost 1,500 hours played.
Oh man, I wish. I've Osmom's a big fan of Sims. She was back Sims 3 days. The Sims 3 days. I think she's got somewhere around 6,000 hours.
Sheesh. That's a lot of hours. All right.
We don't talk about mine.
All right. So the question I had for you, if you could, okay, let's say somebody builds a time machine out there, and they say AtomikGamez. With this time machine, you're able to visit any artist, like music artist, out there, alive or dead, when they were in their prime. Who would it be and why?
I mean, right off the hop, I think the scope would change a little. I would visit Jimi Hendrix during Woodstock, and I'd really like to see some of those folks that played Woodstock. There was a lot of really cool folks that were there and played some really cool music, and Jimmy's always been a big fan of mine. I've always really wanted to see Jimi Hendrix, rest in peace.
That's awesome. I would love to meet personally. I mean, he's still alive right now, but on his prime, I would love to visit Phil Collins.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah. Right when he was with Genesis, I would have loved to see a concert with him playing the drums, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. That would have been iconic. All right, what you got, Nightmare?
Okay, I'm going to ask the same question. I want to know what scares you more.
Oh, God.
Flying sharks or tigers with the ability to breathe underwater?
Okay, so wait. Flying sharks or tigers that can breathe underwater?
Yes.
I think I'm going to go with tigers that can breathe underwater. I'm going to explain why. And that's because I don't really fuck with the ocean anyways. So that would just be one more thing in the ocean that I wouldn't have to worry about. Because flying sharks brings the problem, home. I don't want to be walking the kid home from school one day and it's like, we're running down the street for some, flying, that's where I'm just, I think, so yeah, I probably prefer tigers that breathe underwater.
So we now know what scares him more. So.
All right. So, pineapples on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Ooh, no. All right, Nightmare.
Nightmare. Today.
Nightmare.
I heard a funny story about Canadians and pineapple pizza. Didn't you know?
You can take the mic, Nightmare. I'm done.
Look, there's two today that have said pineapples and pizza are a good idea.
Yeah, because it's all about the toppings. I know. I heard
is.
I heard you every time we have this podcast. It's all about the toppings. It's all about toppings. But I'm sorry, pineapple for me does not belong in pizza. It's a fruit.
Pineapple, some feta cheese on top, baked.
Oh.
Now, has he ever actually tried it? Is the question.
Yes, I have tried it, and I did not like it. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
It's
okay. So Awesome says, did you know that the Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada? That's actually pretty cool. Actually. That's actually pretty neat. I did not know that. I just learned something. See, that's the thing. One thing we love about the podcast is when we get people that come in and talk and they basically we engage with them. We freaking love the fact that we learn new things sometimes. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
All right. So let me see. Okay. Did you hear when we asked the bird's-eye goose earlier in the show?
Did a wahoo?
The other question he doesn't want to ask you there.
All right.
He skipped that one.
Okay. So that one I'm going to wait till the end of the podcast to ask. So right. You're in a forest with no weapons. Like all you have is your bare fists. And your way home is by walking. There's no cars, no planes, nothing. You can only walk home. And there's two paths in front of you. The left path, you'll face one bear-sized goose. Like you have to face, if you can't get past through the path until you pass through the goose. But if you go to the right path, you're gonna face 100 goose-sized bears,
Mm-hmm.
and it's grizzly bears. So, which path would you choose, and how would you get rid of the problem in the road with no weapons?
Well,
nothing.
I'm going for the bear-sized goose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's just a big goose. Okay, and if that's just a big goose coming at me, I got that. I got that, MF. I'm ready to go. Have you seen the size of my arms? I'm gonna wrestle that MF to the ground and I'm gonna run. I'll punch him a couple times and get through there. I'm telling you.
You can literally do what my friend Nightmare here said earlier. Just basically choke him and then basically make him dinner. Bring dinner home. Literally bring dinner home.
Goose dinner, man. Can't go wrong.
Literally,
Just give it
literally. But
giant cobra chicken, though. Yeah, it is. It is a giant cobra chicken. I mean, in all reality, you know not to mess with those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're dead.
I'm just being. They'll kill you in Canada.
But
I'm just
Dude,
joking.
we deal with your geese.
but
I live in Ohio. We deal with your geese.
but
Sons of bitches.
But we actually have my co-host here that's gonna test a theory really soon. That a previous guest we have here, when we asked him that question, he said that apparently if you point a green laser pointer to their feet, they literally get intimidated and turn the other way.
Who?
We had I'm trying to remember his name, but I mean I have to go.
No,
through.
but like geese, the geese don't like a green laser pointer.
Yeah, you point it at their feet,
Oh.
and they literally turn around and get intimidated. They get scared. They run.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much your funeral to find out that research. So
Well, I told.
There'll be video. I promise it'll be posted somewhere within the Reef podcast information.
Literally, I told them videotape it, and then we're gonna share it on the podcast so we can actually be like, "Hey, this is him." But I mean, if he doesn't make it back to the podcast, we know what happened.
yeah, you just get.
Don't
you get
worry,
tons of
the
views.
video will make it back to the podcast.
Good. Get instant upload to the cloud or whatever, right?
Oh no, I'm gonna have my wife record it and send it.
Okay. Watch from afar. That's right.
Keep your distance from it. All right, what you got, Nightmare?
Okay, so pizza or wings? We gotta know what your favorite is on that one.
I mean, I'm gonna say pizza. I like wings. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if somebody put like a deep dish pizza down in front of me and some wings, I'd go for a slice of the deep dish first.
No pineapples though, right?
The whole thing could be Hawaiian.
Oh.
Extra pineapples, please.
All right. Breathe underwater, or go. I mean, I know you said you're terrified of water, but I mean, I'm saying like breathe underwater with no fear about losing, like like your air or anything like that.
Yep.
Or be invisible.
I'm gonna go with going invisible. I guess, because even if I could breathe underwater, it still don't feel like hanging out in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man. So I have to.
People go invisible.
Yeah.
I would just be that. I mean, okay. So the other thing is, I've seen in some of these shows that when you have a power like going invisible, sometimes it leaves you naked. So would I just be naked coming in and out of this, or like well, I'd have to be naked, right? So because can I make my clothes invisible?
You can basically do whatever you want when you're invisible. So basically, like
I know, but
you can
do I make my whole body or just my clothes, or how does that work?
your whole body basically and clothes. So basically, like
My clothes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So basically, you're fully invisible. Basically, you're fully invisible, and like nobody can see nothing from you. So like basically, all they will hear will be like, "Hey, how's it going? I love pineapples, bro." And then I'll be like, "Oh, I know who that is."
I love pineapples for fuck. I just be walking around.
Just
See,
pop up with a pineapple right behind him and just put it right near him and be like, "This is going on your pizza later."
Oh man! All right. So Nightmare has one more question, and then I gotta ask this final question that makes everyone think I'm an awkward human being.
Okay. So have you gone camping before?
yes.
Okay. Do you prefer camping in a tent or in like a camper or cabin, RV, something like that?
In all the times I've gone camping previous to now has been in a tent. And I say it like that because I'm old enough now with a bunch of shit that I think a camper is next.
Mosquitoes, man, they're like my worst enemy. I hate them. I do not like them.
They love my blood. They love my blood. But I mean, as far as tenting and stuff goes, I think everybody should be out in a tent. I think camping when you're young, you should be in a tent. You should be on the ground. You should cook on the fire. You should get out smelling. You should. That was how we spent our weekends camping. And I'd never trade that experience for anything, for sure.
All right. So here comes the question that Nightmare always loves to eat a burger or eat something while I ask this. So hashtag burger. All right. So you eat cereal, right? Do you prefer to eat your cereal with the milk first and then the cereal, or the cereal first and then the milk?
Well, I mean, there's only one non-psychopathic way to do that, and that's cereal first.
Well, you just met a psychopath that actually puts milk first and then the cereal.
Yeah, that's weird. Do you shower with your socks on too?
That's actually new. That's actually new.
This is the same level of sickness here, as far as I'm concerned.
Dude, okay, I'm sorry, but I just saw your dog come up to you like on the couch, and it almost looked like he was actually on your shoulder for a little bit. Like it looked like literally she was like right here. So
she came down here and bit at my hand a little bit, and she was like, she doesn't like bites. She just puts my hand in her mouth, and she's like, pay attention to me. It's just like that.
Awesome. All right, so last little thing real quick. Anybody out there that you would love to give a shout out to that is not present here, now is the time to give them a shout out to.
That's not present here?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like, you know, we shout out everybody that's here already, like the viewers, but I mean, anybody that's not here that you would like to give them a shout out to, now you can give them a shout out if you want. Like, basically, like, you know, whoever is not here that you want to be like, hey, shout out to you if you're listening to this out there, like the recording after the podcast.
That's big. Listen. Just a big shout out to everybody that came by and hung out today and asked questions, and thanks for a few of the peeps coming through and saying hello, and thanks to you guys for having me here and hosting a really great, you know, last hour and stuff. And I mean, I appreciate it, man. It's been really, really, really fun.
Man, I look forward to seeing more of your X-Defiant content, because we definitely have to team up, because my goodness, dude.
Yeah, let's get together sometime.
I need help, and I need a better teammate than this guy right here.
Hey, it sounds like we could help out each other. Shout out the community, yours and ours. Yeah, right. Shout out to the community. It's definitely big shout out to all the great people that are out there in and out of all of these great places. Appreciate you guys a lot.
Absolutely. And just so everyone knows, this 2 interviews that we had today are actually going to be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all these platforms really soon. We have an editor that's going to be working really hard on these, because this is actually 2 that we had back to back. So there's like 2 hours worth of content that he has to edit. So shout out to him for always doing an amazing job with the edits. Shout outs to like Atomik says, to all the listeners out there that listened to us today. Thank you so much for taking your time. We will be back in 2 weeks time. We're actually going to be interviewing the content creator by the name of Enforced Viper. This guy is like my go-to brother. Like, he's always there for me, always like listen to my problems when I have problems. I promised him, like, hey, I'm gonna put you in an interview, it's gonna happen soon, I promise. And now we're finally gonna interview this guy in 2 weeks. But until then, AtomikGamez, thank you again for the time. We appreciate you, my man.
Have a good one.
Keep having fun in the streams, and good luck on your content.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Take care.
You too.
Take care, Atomik.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps this edition of the Reef podcast. On behalf of me and Nightmare Rising, we want to wish you guys an amazing week coming up. And thank you for being devoted listeners for all these 4 years. We couldn't have done it without you guys, because you guys are what makes this podcast possible. Feel free to follow us on all our socials as well, because we would love to have you on the podcast. And my goodness, Nightmare, right now, we're literally booked until 2026.
I know, I seen, man. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable how many people are actually already lined up, and we would love to have you. I mean, if you are an indie game developer, if you're like a streamer, an upcoming streamer, by all means, just shoot us a message and we'll book you on the podcast, and we'll go from there. Any last little things, Nightmare?
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We always appreciate it. And hopefully you guys will be here the next time we go live with Viper.
Absolutely, and that's actually gonna be 1 week before Father's Day, so that's gonna be a special edition. So, thank you again, everybody, and I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you all soon. As always, today's episode of the Reef Podcast was streamed live on Twitch. If you could not make it to the live stream of the podcast, you can always listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and iHeart Radio. Thanks for listening. See you next time.